Most people are hating someone or blaming someone, but there's actually a lot of people that aren't even aware of it. They're doing it subconsciously. You've got hate in your heart. Your heart's not open. I finally got to be able to release and say, I'm fucking scared. It was gone and my heart was open for the first time. That's my attitude now, where it's like, if you want this thing, just keep going.
What's up, guys? Ready for another episode of the Make Men Great Again podcast. Got a friend and ex-coach and very special guest, Mr. Luke Page, hails from Melbourne. Luke, welcome to the Make Men Great Again podcast.
Mate, pumped. I haven't done an in-person podcast in legit, it's been years, man. So yeah. I'm pumped. And I actually said at the start of the year that I want to do more in-person stuff, and that's coaching, that's speaking, that's podcasting. So I'm just so sick of doing the online stuff. I
was going to say, totally agree. Yeah. The online stuff, especially if you were thumping, and you run an online business. For those who are watching the podcast today, for whatever reason you clicked on this video or this Spotify, Luke's going to be talking about everything from kind of bucking the trend of kind of regular life and running an online business, and his background in sales and all sorts of stuff like that. So we're going to give some awesome value on that. But yeah, I'm also keen to kind of have a chat with you about just your journey. We started being fathers at similar times and all that type of jazz. But yeah, going back to what I was saying before, just the online stuff. That's why I want to do it in person as well, because it's just like connection. It's much more profitable to run a business that's so much more efficient, that you just jam pack all your Zoom sessions back to back to back. But then after a while, you're like, okay, I'm making, like, it's efficient, but I'm not miserable. But I got to a point where I was like, I'm kind of like a little bit miserable with this kind of business. So for those people who are watching and don't know who you are, give us a bit of a backstory. Like, what makes you tick? Obviously, as I said before, we're going to go into some tips and things later in the podcast. But if you were to kind of rewind us back to, give us a bit of a summary on who is Luke Page, what's kind of brought you here, and everything else in between. How would you summarize if your life was a movie? What would the narrative be?
Mate. Yeah, well, ultimately, man, I feel that I've been put on this planet to help people spread their greatness, man. That's my vision.
Awesome.
And what's greatness? I just feel that everyone has got this magic inside them, yeah? Everyone's got this greatness that most people will never let out in their lifetime. So we've got a few people that we look up into a life that they do amazing things, become the person and become like super people, right?
Yep.
And I just think that everyone's got dreams, but the majority of people just never get there because they're just too scared, or they've been told that, hey, I want to be an entrepreneur, but I've been told that I have to be a doctor or there's that type of thing, right? So
certain social norms and those types of things.
Pretty much, man. Yeah. So it's like, I've just found that through I'm almost 38. How old are you, by the way?
37, yeah.
37, yeah. It's funny, man, because like since, I don't know why, like the last year, I've been, when people ask me, I've been saying almost 38. They're like, how old are you?
Yeah.
And I'm like, almost 38. And normally it's like, you're doing the opposite. You're trying to get yourself younger, but I'm saying older for some reason. I think I'm just pumped and looking forward to my 30 or 40s. So I just found I've been like since 16 years old, on the pursuit of my vision. So I've been doing this for fucking ages. Yeah. Ages. And I've like made so many mistakes along the way. I've turned down the wrong path and all that. So even though in my business I've only had 5 years, I've been on the pursuit of my vision for fucking ages, man. For, 21 years, 22 years. So because of that, I've just had like a pretty fucking wild journey. I'm not super successful yet. But in regards to just the things that I've set out to get in life, most of them have come true. And man, I just through that whole journey, I initially thought it was all about money, man. Yeah. And when I was 16, I'm like, I'm just going to fucking make heaps of money.
I'm going to be a millionaire.
I'm going to be a millionaire and all that, yeah. So it was like, that was what life was about.
Yeah.
So everything I did was all about making money. So, I was going to the seminars and stuff like that. And even when I walk around here, man, it just brings back memories of going to seminars when I'm like 17, 18 years old, 19 years old. And that's my life when I was like 16, reading books, 17, going to seminars, and the average age is like 50, and I'm this little 17-year-old kid. I remember I left school to pay for a seminar. So I dropped out of high school to pay for a fucking
So
seminar.
go and get a job so you could go.
Yep.
Love it.
So, and it was like, I was just so erratic. I was just like, I'm going to be a millionaire, I'm going to be super successful. And it was literally like, it wasn't like I remember it was term 1 of year 12, right? Which I think that was 2004 possibly. And term 1, year 12. And it wasn't like I was thinking about this for months, weeks, year. It was almost like an idea I got that day, man. I remember I was sitting in, it was English. And I'm like, fuck this shit, man. I loved music. And I would go out and I'd basically play guitar at school, like in between. I had all these spare gaps and shit like that. And I'd love music, but everything else I just couldn't stand. And I used to annoy people, the teachers hated me because I'd distract everyone.
Because you were bored.
I was bored as hell, yeah. So I think I just was sitting in there one day, English, and I'm like, fuck this. What am I doing here? Like, I can't waste another day. And I literally, on the bus home from school, I walked into McDonald's. And I asked for a job because I'm like, I'm fucking leaving. Macca's.
Love it.
Yeah. So I got interviewed at Macca's. Like I just walked up. Yeah. It was just like, I'm like, can I speak to the manager looking for a job? And luck be it, the manager came out and gave me an interview on the spot. And he must have asked me. And I just read that book. What's that Dale Carnegie book?
Think and Grow Rich.
The other one. Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and
How to Win Friends and Influence People, yeah.
I'd just been reading that, smashing it, yeah, and it was kind of like, telling you the steps on how to get people to like you.
Yes.
And it was use their name and all that and get them to talk about themselves.
Exactly.
And talk about, the things that they like. So to the McDonald's manager, I'm like, how do I get a job here? I just made it completely up. And he goes, just tell me about your future. What are you wanting? And I said, one day I want to own a McDonald's store. And I didn't. But I'm like, what does he want to hear?
Yeah.
And I made fucking all this bullshit up, right? He went away after about 20 minutes of chatting. He went away, he came back, and he basically said, hey, man, look, you sound like a guy that would be not the best fit for this company. I can't imagine that if I asked you to go outside and pick the rubbish up, you'd do it. I'm like, I wouldn't have a problem with that, man. I'm fine. He goes, I just don't think you're right for this job. I'm like, okay.
So you got rejected from Macca's.
Rejected me.
Gosh.
And now I've got a rejection complex in life, mate, because of that Macca's dude. But
we know where you live.
It is that dude, mate. I don't know what his name was.
Probably the best thing that ever happened to you. Not the best. One of those. It's one of those. Not a rejection, but a redirection. Universe is like, dude. What are you going to Macca's? Come on, go and do something else.
Well, mate, it probably wasn't much difference because all I did is I walked out there, I walked across the road to Subway and did the exact same thing. And coincidentally, the boss is out the back and he gave me a job on the spot. And then I basically quit school the next day. Wow. And then I worked at Subway. I worked at Subway with mums because it was like during the week, yeah?
Yeah.
And the only people working at Subway during the week are mums.
Making singers.
I was working at Subway making singers, man, and it was actually a sick job. Like I practice all the principles from How to Win Friends and Influence on my customers. So I learned how to sell from every customer. I would practice each principle. Like I would make a list of the people's names. I'd make a list of, and it was legit. People were coming into Subway, man, to get served by me because I made them happy.
Yeah, you gave them an interaction that made them feel good about themselves, and whether they knew it or not. They started to buy Subway every day for lunch instead of Chinese one day Subway, then because you just
probably,
made them feel good.
Yeah, possibly. So, it was a good foundation into the world, yeah. So anyway, had some money to pay for that seminar, and the seminar was all about investing. So I was teaching you how to invest in property, into shares, and talking about business. So that's all I did. I'm like, okay, I loved property, so I got a job in real estate. And I learned about the property market and bought my first property when I was like, I don't know, 21 years old or something like that, 20 years old. got shares and all that type of stuff and dabbled with business. Yeah, kind of always had a business mindset and stuff like that. But the thing is, what I didn't have was patience.
Yes.
And that's why I could not do business, man, because you have an idea. I think I've chatted to you about this, man. You were similar.
Well, I've been on your podcast twice, right? So like, we've chatted about a bit of this, but go deep because these guys may or may not have seen that episode.
Okay. So, yeah, I would just I did that seminar and that was like an opening to this vision that I had, which was the goal was, man, you got to make money. Money leads to happiness. And that was just kind of what my life was about. It was how can I make money? How can I make money? And I just, as I went through my journey of making money and stuff like that, and it wasn't like I was a multimillionaire, man, but I had enough money and good money to live fairly comfortably.
At a young age.
At a young age,
while
man.
everyone else is out getting shit-faced and blowing their cash. You're going to seminars, you're investing, you're learning about business.
Exactly. So I just found that, I ended up getting a job at a window furnishings company and I became the sales manager there and I was managing a team of people and I ended up basically being second to the founder. Yeah, I was like the second in charge and there was about 40 people there.
So it's and what age were you then?
Well, I started that company early 20s. I think maybe it was 23.
So it's a pretty, just for, pumping up your self-worth, you're going, wow, I'm probably passing people in their 30s and 40s for these. Would I be accurate to say that?
Pretty much, man, yeah. I mean, I didn't start there. I started as a sales rep. But to get out there, I was managing and looking after like my sales reps and they're in their 30s, their 40s, their 50s and sales reps. And this is what they didn't like. And this is one thing I had to put up with was guys that have been doing it for decades and they got this little young motherfucker telling them what to do.
They would have loved that.
They loved it, mate. So I had a lot of resistance, man, being the sales manager of that company because I had a team of dudes that didn't like being told by this young motherfucker how to be and to show them what to do because at the end of the day, man, they weren't, a lot of them weren't amazing at sales anyway,
Yeah.
So, I just found as more and more money I made, bro, I started to realize, I'm like, man, I'm getting all this stuff that I want, but something's missing. Yeah. So I think it got to the point where, I don't know, I was probably earning about 200K or so from the job and like half of it was cash. Yeah. The car was paid for, mobiles, everything's paid for, all these perks and stuff.
You've got property, you're in your mid-20s at this stage.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and it was just
it's pretty fantastic for some people don't earn a 200K salary their entire life. Like what's the average median? It's about 80,000, something like that. Is that right? 70 something thousand.
I wouldn't even know.
This is I wouldn't even know.
I wouldn't even bloody know,
eh? I'm a bloody nomad. And we're talking if you're 38 now, nearly 38.
Nearly 38.
So you're 37, same age as me, we're talking 13 years ago. So 200 grand then is, 300 grand now probably.
Mate, probably is, yeah.
Realistically speaking, inflation and all that.
You know what? Didn't even think of that, mate. You're probably fucking right.
It's yes, to your point, okay, sure, if you want to compare, someone else might be a gazillionaire, but at a mid-20s, not many people make a couple $1,000 in their mid-20s. And this, by the way, is before Instagram. Like now you do see 18-year-olds and 21-year-olds running Instagram accounts. They're making millions of dollars, but in reality, that wasn't a thing. Very few people, I would imagine, just to give you some props here and to give some context for the people who are watching. Yeah, 15 years ago, that's like a lot of money. I could imagine you would be feeling initially pretty amazing, but then it sounds like from maybe, go into a bit deeper, but what I'm hearing from what you just shared is that in that journey that you're also realizing, as you said, something's missing. I thought I was going to feel elated and consistently happy and then you're going, oh, okay, what was it? Was there a moment where you realized this isn't what I thought it was, or did it gradually build up on you? Was it like, and what talk me through that realization?
Mate, I would say gradually built up, yeah. Gradually built up. I actually did a video about this the other day, which is that 30-day thing that I'm doing, thinking back to my journey, and that kind of made me think about the transition from leaving that job to going out to the coaching world. Mate, it just got to the point where I was living comfortably and I wasn't fulfilled. I was kind of like, man, I'm working this job, and I was like, this is not doing it for me anymore.
You desensitized yourself to the excitement of it after a while.
Yeah, pretty much, man. Yeah. It was like I've got the money now, and it's not like I had millions, but it wasn't like, man, I just didn't have much restrictions in life. Yeah.
Yes, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, I was just living pretty comfortably, and I was just like, if I keep on doing what I'm doing, which is making more money, which I don't really need anymore. I'll take it, of course, but I don't really need it anymore. I'm kind of learning this. Am I going to be happy and fulfilled? And the answer is fucking no. So it was weird, man, because my vision since I was 16, it was starting to kind of happen. But then I made a learning that it wasn't what I wanted. And then from there, I'm like, well, shit, what do I want?
What do I do with this realization?
What do I fucking do? Yeah, man. So then I just kept on searching, like I've had been already doing, searching for the answer, the thing. Yeah, and I just went, okay, if that's not it, what is it? And I went to Date with Destiny, Tony Robbins. You been to it?
Not Date with Destiny. I did UPW, Unleash the Power. Yeah. UP Dubs.
UP Dubs. Mate, I tell you what, these fucking microphones, you need to work out to hold it.
Yeah, it does. It can get tiring, but with my travel kit, the
stands
they're too big.
You must have you got some resilience built up in your wrist, mate, from holding these fucking things.
I swap hands a bit, but also sometimes you can do a little rest, like that, or a little pillow prop.
A little pillow prop, yeah. So Date with Desi, man. So I had already.
You can hold it here too if you want.
On that one.
Yeah. As long as you don't.
Okay, here we go. I can do that. Yep. I don't mind this one.
Yeah, this is it's a slightly bigger,
a
girthier grip.
This is it's a big girth grip, mate. I'm very good in the girth grips.
This is a more normal grip for me.
Yeah.
All right. Hope you're enjoying the podcast thus far. Just want to take a moment of your time to ask that in exchange for this amazing value and guests and hopefully some entertainment too, if you guys have liked it so far and you want to see more, please make sure that you subscribe to the channel. At the end of the day, you can continue just to watch and all those type of things, but it does actually have an enormous impact on the level and quality of guests that I can have. And that just means better interviews for you guys. And it also means more impact in the world. The more men that can come across this channel and see this information and see the types of topics, the things that we're talking about, that can change another man's life. So if you've got value, pass it on. Pass on that value by hitting the subscribe button. With that said, guys, let's get back to the episode. Bye for now.
Yes,
that's why.
Absolutely.
This is holding something small like that's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
This is the secrets of the podcast.
Yeah. A girthy grip.
The girthy grip. So I did Date with Destiny, right? And and anyone who doesn't know what Date with Destiny is, it's just Tony Robbins. So he just runs this program for about a week, and it's intense. Yeah, really intense. So 7 days straight, I think it is, or 5 to 7 days.
Like 12 hours a day type scenario.
Oh, yeah, at least. Yeah, you're starting first thing, and sometimes you're going past midnight. So it's probably more than 12 hours, man.
Yeah.
And what do you do there? You just kind of let go. Ultimately, you let go of shit that's holding you back.
Yeah, you really you with support shine a light on all of these areas that you don't know that are there, and expose all of these little entanglements and things like that. And then through the people there and the coaching, it's pretty. And so you got a lot of value out of that.
Yeah, mate, that was the turning point for sure.
Wow, okay.
Fuck yeah, it's a turning point.
Because a lot of people, the reason why I want to ask that is because I think a lot of people would sometimes see people doing that stuff and they either go one of a couple different ways. Either like, what can happen in 7 days? Come on. Like, but in reality, if you calculate the numbers, let's say you're doing 12, let's say it's 12 hours, it might be 15, but let's just say it's 12 times 6 days. What's that? 72 hours. When's the last time you did 72 hours of intense coaching? Most people haven't done that in their entire life. That's 72 psychology sessions, but with someone who's probably a lot better than a psychologist, and in an environment that you're not you're not leaving and then coming back and going back into the environment that's going to kind of reinforce those entanglements. You're completely indoctrinating yourself in a sense, into a new way of seeing life. So
if you haven't been to any of those things before, man, like the environment, that's the thing. Is the environment is like no other. Like it's an environment that'll you can't really get anywhere else, and because of how good it is, the energy in there, and the love that you feel from everyone, it'll pull the best version out of you by far. And it's a transformation. It's leaving your old self and stepping into a new version of yourself. So going to this seminar, man, I was just like a dude where I didn't go in with intentions where it's like, I need help, I need fixing. At that point in my life, man, I thought I was all good. I thought I got it all sorted out.
You're just trying to level up. You're not actually trying to heal.
That's it, dude. Yeah. That was it. It was leveling up. It wasn't healing. I'm like, there's nothing wrong with me. I'm just leveling up because I like to become better. And
you just want to be great.
I just want to be great, dude. I just want to make myself great again. So, I just went along to this seminar with that's the intentions. I'm all good. I just want to get better. And I brought my wife along to this one because I think we'd just kind of been together for maybe I don't know, maybe a couple of years or something like that, and maybe I was brainwashing her into this kind of coaching stuff. And she came along, which was great for her. And we didn't sit together or anything like that.
You did your own experience.
Did our own experience, which was important. And I just remember when we walked in there day one, and it's such a kind of buzz getting in there, and you get to the hotel the night before, and then you rock up and there's all these people, and you have to wait out the front and register for hours, and it takes ages to get in. You finally get your seat, then the music comes on and the dancers come out. So there's such a build up for hours. It's not like you just walk in, Tony starts speaking. The build up is massive, and it's just like whoa, and everyone's kind of got this nervous energy, like and then Tony comes out on stage finally, and it's just like you just feel his presence, man. Just unbelievable how much this vibe that this dude's just it's coming out of him, and then everyone's up and dancing and shit like that, going nuts. And he says, "Sit down," and he says, "Everyone here is here for a reason. Some of you know why you're here, and others don't know why you're here. You think you're here for one reason, but you're here for something different." Yeah. I'm just like, yeah, man, when you're before.
I know why I'm here.
Yeah, I'm here
I'm
just
not
to
like
get
these
better,
other
man.
losers. Yeah. These fucked up fuckers.
100%. That's what it is.
I remember at UPW, I'll hijack you for 2 seconds. I remember just judging the fuck out of everybody there in the first 10 minutes. I'm thinking, I'm not going to be dancing with the fucking hands in the air. and then I caught myself and I thought, oh fuck, my only goal this weekend is because I'm going to ruin my own experience if I'm constantly judging everybody. I'm not going to be able to take my guard down if I just think I'm better than everyone else. But anyway, I relate to what you're saying.
So what was how long did it take you to dance?
I don't remember. I probably danced awkwardly, but after a while, after you do, I can't remember exactly, but I would guess that it was after doing an exercise with some, they make you do all these different exercises. I would say once I did an exercise with some people around me, and I got to the humanality, is that a word? I got to just the humanness that everyone, I stopped judging the surface level of them, what shoes they were wearing, whether they looked like dorky or cool or whatever were the frameworks that I had looking through life and were the prisons of my own psyche. Once I got to connect with the human to human, I think, and I had the awareness of like, wow, these people are all here. They're all here to do stuff, and I'm like, what sort of a person am I judging the absolute pants off these people? Like, there was nowhere to hide in a sense, because obviously there's the energy there. There's not a space for that judgment, so it actually just stands out a lot more to your own or to my own psyche, I reckon. Anyways. But so you're
I get that.
I hijacked a little bit there. So you're day one, you're there. He says you're having this. He says to everybody,
It says that, yeah.
and you were thinking, I know what I'm here for, and then
Yeah. So I was just like, yep, I know what I'm here for. I'm just here to better myself.
yeah,
And yeah, slowly. But when he did say that, I did kind of get a little bit of a
little bit of a tickle.
like,
Have I missed something? Kid?
have I missed something? And then he kind of kept on talking about it, right? And he said, everyone here is blaming someone for their shit in their life. And I'm like, oh, fuck. I'm like, oh, shit. Oh, shit. And then as soon as he said that, I knew exactly what he was talking about.
Really?
Yeah. And like that was like, and then he basically said that over these next 7 days, it's going to be full on intense. He goes, you're going to have to do things that you've never had to do in your life. And he goes, for those people that are blaming people in their life and they're hating on people or hating on someone, you're going to let that all go by the end of the week. And I was just like, nah, fucking no chance, man. No chance. No chance am I fucking doing it. So basically what had happened, I'd been hating my sister, man.
Yeah.
For 15 years straight.
Yeah.
Like just hating her. And I was just like in the moment thinking, I ain't doing that. I'll just do all the other stuff. But ultimately, if I have to say it, I'm going to do it. I'll do it, but I won't actually do it. So in the moment when he said it, I said, oh, shit, because I'm like, okay. But in the moment, even though I was like, oh, shit, that's what I'm here for, I didn't say I'm going to let it go in the moment. I wasn't ready to, yeah. He kind of chipped away at me over the days. I think it maybe took a couple of days to where I'm like, okay, I've got to do this.
Was it because you started to maybe? Well, let me ask you, why do you think that is? What was it that led to your being more open to let that go?
I guess because I'd been hating my sister for about 15 years. My reality in my world was that fuck you for doing what you did to our family, right? Very quick backstory on my sister. She was a drug addict, and just through my teens, she just caused so much shit in our family.
Heartache and pain.
Heartache
and
and
stress.
pain and stuff like that. And I felt like a black sheep of the family. Didn't have good connection with my parents or any of my family, man. And I was just like, I felt like no one understood me. And I blamed her for that. I blamed her because
She took all the attention.
in a way.
Not in the way that most people might think. I just mean in the way that,
Yes.
like in the same way that someone who has a sick family member, whether that be they're got a mental health sickness and they're using drugs,
Yeah.
or whether it be like, I don't know, they're a quadriplegic, but all of the attention has to be on that. And then you feel like unconsciously or consciously like you have some compassion for that, but at the same time, hey, I'm here too. I'm important. Don't I get some love or some attention like need like in the way of attention, but in that's kind of what you mean.
Oh, dude, man, I was a kid. I was a teenager when it was. I mean, mind you,
How much older is she than you?
She's 4 years older than me.
Okay.
So it wasn't like, and it spanned across a long period of time.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? It wasn't like they just become a drug addict. It's like a slow build up to it, and then my mum would do anything to save her, to look after her. My dad was like, "Get her out of the house," and I was like, "Fucking fuck her off."
Were you close before that with your sister?
Yeah,
Like, did you have a relationship with her prior
Absolutely,
to that?
man. Absolutely, yeah. She was my, as in, I've got a brother. So I got an older sister. She's 52. I've got a.
Well, that's not 4 years. That's a lot.
That's a lot, man. Well, I didn't grow up with these dudes.
That's the different sister.
That's the different sister. Yeah. And then I had a brother. I've got a brother he's just turned 50. So I didn't grow up with them really because they were out of the house, right? The experience I had with my older sister, she looked after me when I was young because my parents were running the business. And then I just wanted to be with my mum. So I didn't like my older sister because she was like given the job to look after me when I just wanted to be with my mum. So I used to be an absolute fucker for her.
Yeah.
So that was my experience with her. My brother wasn't around because he moved to Queensland. And then, it was my sister. So she was like the sibling that was closest to me, right?
Yeah.
So, it was like, it was just like a big bunch of years. I can't remember.
There's
how
a lot
long
of
it was,
dynamics that are playing out in that. Just as you lay that out there, one brother's here and the other sister. Like there's a lot of stuff that
Yeah, so it was just like going through the period of when my sister was in a really bad position and bad spot. Me not being, number one, mature enough to understand it. I'm just this little spoiled little kid who's not getting the love and attention that I want.
Yeah.
I'm the youngest in the family. The youngest in the family gets all the attention because they're the youngest, right? So I've been brought up with all the attention's on me.
Yes.
And then it's got taken off me.
Yeah.
So I didn't know how to deal with that, man. So basically, I became the typical achiever in life, Everything I did, I was great at because I was just trying to get the attention of my parents.
Yeah.
And, dude, they gave it to me and they gave me anything they want. And I remember I used to play music and I had a Gibson guitar.
Yeah, which is a very good guitar.
It's a fucking good guitar, man.
Yep.
No other person had a Gibson, I was like in my school, I had a Gibson. I was known as the dude that had the Gibson. So it's not
I was
my
known
parents,
as the dude. That dude, that's the Gibson dude over there.
He's got the Gibson, mate. He's got the Gibson. So, they gave me shit, man. Definitely they did. But I just felt like I wasn't heard because I'm like, get her out of the house. And then they were like, well, basically I felt like they were kind of choosing her over what I wanted in a way. And I also kind of, I just slowly went into my shell of not expressing because I just felt all the pain at home with it, and it was non-stop fighting and screaming and getting broken into and coming home and there's needles on the ground and all that shit going on.
So she was I'm taking, I was about to say a stab in the dark. Well, there wasn't supposed to be a pun there. I'm taking a guess to say that if she's using needles, she's like, it's obviously not your party drugs. You're talking about
heroin, man.
Okay,
yeah, fuck yeah.
Okay,
yeah, dude.
So that's a big difference, like in terms of the impact that things like heroin and ice have on families versus like other drugs. Yeah.
Bickies and Coke.
Yeah.
No, none of that shit, man. Just the filthy crap. So I've just got like shit memories of my teenage days. And I remember we went to the Blue Mountains once to get her off, the detox thing. And it was almost like get her out of the environment and then you take away for a week or two.
She comes back
and
to the same environment.
Just like the movie. I don't know if you've seen the movies. But when you take an addict, when you take them off the shit for cold turkey, they go insane.
Yeah, they go very sick and
it was literally like that. I remember driving and she's screaming in the fucking windows and like they've locked the doors in the car.
They'll do anything in that moment.
Doing anything. She's screaming and then we're in this cabin in Blue Mountains.
So you're actually out there while she's detoxing.
Yeah, I'm with the family.
You shouldn't be there.
Yeah. So it was just like, it was just, that was like, screaming, banging on the walls. And it was just a shit experience. So it's not like it's the worst experience. Like people do go through way worse stuff, but that's just kind of my experience through my teenage years. And what it did is it pushed me away from my family. And I was just kind of like, almost had like a fuck you attitude.
Well, it sounds like they also, like, I'm just psychoanalyzing a little bit here, but it sounds like also underpinning that is like, well, hold on a second. You're supposed to be protecting me and you're putting, even that lodge story,
the lodge,
right? You shouldn't be there. A parent, you should be you should be going up, mate, fuck school. You're going to stay with your brother in Queensland or you're going to stay with your grandma or you're going to stay, like, you shouldn't be witnessing that. That's not for a teenager's eyes to see their sister in that way. So I would imagine there'd be some anger, unconscious or conscious towards, and a feeling of not feeling like they're protecting you. There's certain things that you shouldn't be. Or same thing with the house. The fact that they didn't kick her out, I would imagine, would make you feel unsafe. I can't feel safe. I can't go through my teenage. I've got my own shit to deal with. And you're constantly dealing with that. So there's obviously there would have been other layers of like, I'm sure upset with them that, that they haven't, like you said, they've chosen to kind of protect or look after her, but,
Yeah, that's accurate, man. The safe thing, because we had to have locks on our doors and shit because she'd rub us. I remember once my girlfriend got me some aftershave, right? And it was this Givenchy.
I was going to say, it wasn't Jupe, was it? You remember the old Jupe days?
The Jubies, Jupe Jump. Jupe Jump, I think, was the second edition. I did have Jupe. Jupe was fucking good. Givenchy, right?
Yeah.
And she replaced, because it was clear.
Put
she
water in it
put
or
water in
something.
there. And like that's the shit they would go to. They would steal everything. She robbed our next door neighbours twice within the same week. She robbed my sister's house. Like it was this. She robbed everything. She robbed my parents' shop numbers of times.
Yeah, so you can't even sleep at night without wondering, and who's she going to bring with her? And
so that was kind of
that's-
like that. It wasn't a safe environment home. And I just kind of I go, okay, sweet. That's what it is. That's the cards I've been dealt. Got into self-development. My dad got me into self-development. He bribed me $40 to read Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Yeah.
And then that just opened
That's
my
nice.
eyes to this thing. Yeah, it was fucking good. It's good. It was lucky. So that gave me an interest in life, because I was, previous to that, it was sport.
Yeah.
Then I was getting over the sport. And then self-development became a thing. I'm just like, all right, well, I'm going to be rich and successful. And then my parents will finally take notice of me.
Yeah.
And maybe my family might give me the respect and that I want, that I kind of yearn for. So that's led me down that little journey there, man, of what it was I've got to get rich and successful.
That was your
because
answer.
then that's it. Because then that will get the love that I want in my family, which I didn't have. So getting back to
Going back to the date.
Date
So
with
this is
Destiny.
unraveling. This is all what's locked inside you.
Yeah.
And you're at Date with Destiny.
I went date with Desi, dude. So, and then when he said that, you've been blaming someone, you're going to let that shit go. In the moment, I said, no, there's no chance, because I vowed that I would never let it go. And I'm just like, fuck her. I just looking forward for her to die and leave the family and just completely get out of our lives. And then, it's just like over the couple of days, I just kind of realized, I'm like, I'm not as okay as I thought I was. You know what I mean?
Because you're up until this point, when you're driven and you're achieving,
Yep.
it's a great way to cover up all of your your shit, because you're topping yourself up with all of it. Oh, another award, another bonus check at work, another car, another toy, and I don't want to feel all those things. Now let me just keep winning over here, and that like not hyper positivity, but just all the focus is on all the good shit, and this is just down in the cave locked down there with a key that's just thrown away. So Tony's got the key. He's opening up
Tony's got
the
the
drawers,
key.
and there's some skeletons popping out.
Yeah, they're popping out, man. So that was basically said. He goes, look, and that person who is ruining your life, you've been hating on him, you've been blaming all your shit. And what you're going to do is you're going to meet up with them and you're going to ask them to forgive you. And when he said that, and I'm like, sorry, man, you got it the wrong way around. I go, maybe they'll ask me to forgive them, not the other way around. And he goes, yes, you've got to ask them for forgiveness. He goes, if you're serious about letting all this go and moving on, he goes, you don't have control over them. Yeah, you got control over yourself. If you're waiting for them to ring you up or meet with you and say, I'm so sorry for all the shit that I done. Yeah. Sorry for being a shit mum or a shit dad, or I'm sorry for that happening. Whatever it is, the thing for you.
Yeah.
You're probably going to be waiting around the rest of your life, because that person is that person.
Yeah. And unless they go on their own journey like you did, but that's
Exactly.
you've got zero control over that. So get that out of your head. You can only control what you do.
100%. 100%. And how many people go on the journey that we do? And probably the people, watching this, that's a minority, yeah? Majority will never do it. And he did say one thing. He goes, people do shit things to people, do it because they've had shit things done to them, right? So you got to have compassion for that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, maybe she's just hurting. Yeah?
Yeah.
Maybe she's hurting. And then that was the first point where I started looking at things slightly different. The first point, I'm like, oh, I guess she's hurting. And then from there, I'm just like, I started to kind of open up to the idea, yeah. And anyway, at the end of the 7 days, I definitely, whatever day it was, I definitely made the decision what my plan was. My plan was to meet up with all my family members individually and basically tell them what I'd been feeling. Because, dude, man, I hadn't been vulnerable with my family fucking forever. Like maybe when I was a kid, but I hadn't been vulnerable and honest with them how I feel. Oh man, I wouldn't even remember. Maybe I was just a little kid, yeah. So I met up with my sister, which the oldest sister first, because she was the one I was most comfortable with. And I just kind of said, hey, this is how I'm feeling. I said, I love you, sis. And that was fairly easy to do because I had an okay she was the one I was closest to. Even though I didn't like her when I was young, as I got older, I guess, you know, when you look back and you go, oh, she was looking out for me and stuff like that.
Yeah, you saw it from a different perspective. You were slightly more conscious.
That was it. So I as I got older, I become closer to her. So meeting up with her is easy. So I'm like, I'm going to warm up with her, right? Then I met up with my brother, and I remember I knocked on his door and I was trembling because, dude, we don't express any fucking emotions in our family, especially brother to brother. There's been nothing, man, nothing. Awkward as fuck. And I just said, hey, man, I just want to say I love you. Yeah, I just, you know, I've been kind of living a lie. I want to have closeness in this family. And yeah, I gave him a hug and he kind of like laughed it off, that type of thing. He goes,
he didn't know what to do.
He didn't know. He doesn't do it either, dude. You know what I mean? So he had, I guess, learned from my dad being a cold dude. Yeah, don't express emotions to guys.
Yeah.
So then I met up with my parents. And my mum's warm. She's loving. She's the nurturer. Yeah, my dad's kind of the opposite. He's a nice dude, but he's kind of like he's affectionate to kids, but not adults.
Yes,
especially the boys in the family, right? So I met up with the parents and I sat them down and I said, "Hey, mum and dad, look, I just want to say moving forward, like this is kind of what I've been thinking and feeling and stuff like that. And I just want to, you know, mum, I just want to say that I love you and I just want to give you a cuddle and." So I went and gave her a cuddle, and that was fine because my mum, she's been
you felt safe to
yeah. She's been the affectionate one through my life, so no probs at all with mum. And I said, Dad, yeah, I just want to, you know, I want to give you a cuddle for now, and I'll give you a hug when I meet you and see you, and I want to say that I love you. And he's like, Luke, I can see what you're doing. He didn't say it in a bad way.
Okay.
Yeah, he said he did say, he goes, Luke, I can see where you're coming from, what you're doing, everything like that. He goes, and I respect it. Yeah. He goes, that's just not me. I don't hug people. I don't say that I love you.
Yeah.
And it was weird because if you think that if you're reaching out to your dad and he said that, you'd be heartbroken. But something inside me, dude, I'm just like, I'm not accepting it.
Yeah, okay. You know what I mean? Yeah. You thought, I'm going to crack this motherfucker.
Yeah, that's legit. I'm going to crack this motherfucker. And I said to him straight away without hesitation, I'm like, okay, that's fine, Dad. I'm going to give you a hug.
Whether you fucking like it or not. Yeah. Suck shit.
Went up to him, gave him a hug. He didn't hug me back. And I just gave him a hug. And I'm like, the weird thing is, because you'd think that you'd be like, fuck, man, it didn't work. I thought my dream was if I do this, he's going to hug me back and say, I love you, son, like the movies.
Yeah.
It wasn't like that.
I've always loved you.
Yep.
I'm so sorry that you didn't know that.
Yes. It wasn't like the movies, so he didn't hug me back. But the thing is, man, I didn't have any feeling of upset. I was just like excited. I'm like, I'm going to crack this fucker.
Do you think that's because obviously you've done the date with Destiny, you've done a bunch of healing on yourself, you're seeing things through new eyes, and you probably spent a lot of time with a lot of other people at different ages in Date with Destiny that are like people that are probably your parents' age as well, that also have their shit. I find that like interesting because then do you feel like you were looking at your dad and realizing that the only reason why he wasn't doing that is because he had his own shit that he was caged up? Like, did you have that reation? Do you think that's why you were able to not make it mean anything about you personally? Yeah. It's not that he doesn't love me. Because I'm now looking at my own shit. I can see everyone else's shit without judgment though. But then it means that you don't have to take it personally. It's not, but he's not loving me or not hugging me because obviously he loved you, but he's not expressing his love to me because to him that feels unsafe. Even to the point where I'm gripping onto him, he still can't let go. Maybe I even feel a little bit sorry for him.
100%.
Yeah.
100% right, man. As I looked at it, as I'm like, I understood why he was the way he was, which was he didn't get it from his parents.
Yeah.
So it wasn't about me anymore. It was just almost like, I get it, Dad. You're that.
Yeah.
And I said to him, I go, Dad, you I said, because he goes, I'm not affectionate. I don't express emotion. I said, bullshit, Dad. I go, you do it with the kids because it's safe. You don't do it with us because
he probably doesn't want to get
scary.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, that's exactly what it was. And then I just chipped away at him every time I saw him. I gave him a hug, and it got this. It took years. Yeah,
wow.
It took years, but every hug got less and less awkward, less and less awkward. Then guess what? My brother started fucking doing it. So
your older brother?
Yeah, he started doing it. So we all became huggers.
To your dad?
All of us.
Really? So you really changed the trajectory or the closeness of your family?
Fuck yeah, man. Yeah, 100%.
Awesome, well done.
100%. So it was, everything just fucking changed. And I wouldn't say we were super lovey-dovey, like, but as in where we were from non-expressive.
Yeah. You're not like the Brady Bunch.
No, we weren't Brady Bunch, man.
But from going from having very a lack of connection to having connection, being a family of huggers.
Family huggers, man. So it was like, massive steps forward, massive steps forward. And I was so happy with what we had. Yeah. So, I mean, my dad passed away, but as in I was so happy with what we got and what I got out of the last few years with him, because if he died before I did that, if he died before we kind of healed our relationship in a way.
Did he start hugging back at a certain point, or did he just start receiving it more?
Dude, he was hugging back. 100%, man. He was 100%. He called it the man hug, and he was even doing his own mates.
You're kidding.
Yeah, man. He would go and he's like, come on, I'm going to do the man hug. And he's like, you don't do the man hug? I'll show you. And he was so instigating to other people, and he kind of made it into a fun thing, because he's a fun dude, man. A lot of my personality I've got from him. He just didn't have the affection especially with guys and older people, right?
Yeah.
So he wasn't like a cold dude. He was a nice guy.
Yeah.
He was generally always happy. He's the optimist, that type of thing. He just, affectionate wise, feeling wise, what wasn't expressed. Yeah. So yeah, he from that regard, man, he changed, man, and he just he used to hug his mates and all that, and especially that those people that are 70 years old, they probably haven't grown up with the same shit.
It sounds like he became you for him became him for his mates, if that makes sense. In the sense where he's probably seeing all of his mates going, fuck, I feel good getting hugs. I'm gonna start my
Yeah.
Wow,
this is the thing, because like it's you think about it, if you think a guy that's 70 years old, guys hugging each other back in those days, it's just not acceptable. You know what I mean? For the majority of people, if you don't hug guys, it's the bro thing. It's the, you grew up playing footy and all that type of thing. So it wasn't really like, you tell your mates that you love them and all that. That's a new age thing, man. So
interesting, I did a lot of hugging in my teens.
Yeah, as in with your dad?
With my mates, but that's because we're all on ecstasy.
Oh yeah, exactly. I'm talking sober, mate.
But not sober. Yeah. But not sober.
Yeah. You know what? Talking about ecstasy, that's what I loved, because I loved ecstasy growing up. It was my favorite drug, and I loved it because of, I didn't know it, but because of the love.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I sat there opposite from, do you know Camille? Camille Thurnher?
No.
She's a relationship coach. I met her through Ryan.
Yeah.
And I worked with her, and she sat here, I was there, and she was asking me about my current relationship, and I said I kind of had, my wife hates drugs, and so I kind of said, look, I do drugs every now and again, still not ecstasy, but long story short, I was saying, she's just asked me some questions about it. I said, actually, ecstasy, or just doing drugs when I was a kid, like it saved my life. Not saying that if you're a kid, you should go and do drugs. I'm not promoting it. I'm just saying for me, being very closed in, they're now using MDMA and things like this to help with marriage counseling and things like this. Obviously you feel that euphoric, you feel that love, all of those things wash away. And we'd be, all of the beef that'd be in our friendships would all be going, I love you, man. I didn't mean to do that. I'm sorry for doing this. I'm sorry for doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Yeah, no, the feeling that you got from it would just be, yeah, that's what it is almost like you and I were the same. We wanted love so badly.
Yeah.
So when we took that MDMA or the ecstasy back in the day, which were fucking sick, they're no good anymore, just because the MDMA was so good then. Just the love that we yearned for so much came out in it, you know.
And you couldn't get it because, to your point, because things, you know, especially for men, these are topics and situations that, you know, are not happening without drugs in a sense. So like that really, that's lacking either in, you know, in your parents. Like a lot of my mates were quite rough. So yeah, all of us were in a similar boat where we're meeting up and having what today I see is like brotherhood in communities, and like whether it's a run club, a cycling club, a surfing group, like there's a lot more people that are realizing community and connection. You know, even you've got on Netflix like that Blue Zone thing. They said community is one of the number one things that helps with longevity. Yeah, just the fact that you've got an intimate connection with people, not just your partner, but actual other people, because we come from tribes.
Yeah, definitely.
So you're at Date with Destiny. You're going through this thing. Let's fast forward for a second. Is there anything else you want to add to that section?
Well, just the after that, I met up with my sister. The last thing.
Yes.
Yeah, so I met up with my sister, and I was kind of like, was I nervous to go see her? I guess I was a little bit uncomfortable. I guess because I'd done my sister, my brother, my parents. I was on a roll.
You had a warm up.
I was determined as
you
fuck.
Had some momentum.
Yeah, momentum was there, man. And I'm like, and mind you, just so you know, like to meet up with my sister when I would, it's the type of thing where if
she's still also a heroin addict in this time. It's not like
I think she might have been off it by this stage, man. But look, when you go through that life, you're not clean. Like even her now, like I don't know what she does and what she takes or whether she's an alcoholic or whatever. She's not a normal person. When you go something that deep, you don't come out the other side unscathed, right? But this was, when was this? 2000. Oh, it's hard to remember. 2017, I think it is.
Oh, gotcha.
So
wow.
7 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah. So I met up with her, and it was like, because I've been hating her for so long. I'll be to the point, if we had like a party, and I'd say to my mum, if my sister's going to be there, I'm leaving. That was the rule. So she doesn't come to anything if I'm there. And my mum's like, you got to get the family together. She's the type of family.
Yeah.
And she would have Christmas or whatever, and then Casey would rock up, my sister. And then, I would leave. Like that's the shit I'd do. So to meet up with my sister, I basically hadn't really seen her for a long, long time because any time we had been together, it would either end in a fight or I would just leave, that type of thing, right? So to meet up, she was probably like, what the fuck do you want to meet up for, right? But it was me fighting her rather than the other way around. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We would fight if we saw each other, but it's kind of like I'm the instigator of the fight. Makes sense?
Yeah.
So anyway, I met up with her, and I remember it was in, I think it was in Spotswood, and we went for a walk, and I just basically said to her, I just want to say sorry. I just want to ask you to forgive me for being a really shit brother. And dude, man, it was like we just gave each other a hug, and I felt like 15 years of hate and anger and blame like physically drop off my shoulders.
Wow.
And it was the most amazing feeling, man, because I had no idea that was what was inside me. Doing the Date with Destiny, I guess I was made aware of it. Yeah. You're lacking connection with people here. You're not connected with your family, all this shit. You're thinking about this, you're worrying about this because you've got all this inside you. And I'm like, okay, interesting. Okay, if I let that go, then I'll feel better. So I was made aware of it, but I hadn't had the feeling of holding on to it. When that dropped out of my body, and I'm like, fuck, that's the feeling. That's what I've been holding on to. And yeah, it was just like legit, man. It physically dropped off my body. And then from there, what happened? Actually, you know what? You asked that point, didn't you? About where was the point in your career where you're like, this is not it?
Yeah.
That was the point, man. From there,
gotcha.
It opened my eyes to what am I doing? What am I fucking doing? That made me go.
Shifted from success because if we had a whiteboard right now, we'd be drawing up, okay, cool, this is the mindset, this is the direction. If I get success, subconsciously I believe that I'm going to be loved. Pin that for a second, but then you've gone to date with destiny just to make more money and to be more successful and because you're focused on achieving, not realizing the reason why you want to achieve is because you're not getting the love that you want and you think that you will if you do.
Yeah.
And then day 3 or day 4 or day 5, whichever day it is, you've created this awareness. However many years it's taken, you've ended up, instead of blaming them and you've, whether you've uncovered this pattern or not, you've actually gone out and you've almost you've loved that, you've gone and given love first, and because you've given up that hate around it, and then through doing that, then this whole pattern just dissolved itself. Isn't that interesting?
It's nuts. It really is nuts. So yeah, that what happened, man, was that when you're hating someone, your heart shut off, dude. If you're hating someone
you're
or
not
blaming
just
someone,
closed to them, you're closed to life.
yeah, 100%. Because if you've got hate in your heart, your heart's not open. So as soon as I dropped it with my sister, it was gone, and my heart was open for the first time, and that's what it is. I felt the feeling of my heart being open for the first time in my adult life, and legit. Because previous to that, you're a kid, your heart's open. And that was the first time in my adult life and teenage life, that I felt the feeling.
And you learn from life that it's not safe to have your heart open. So you put all the armor on.
Exactly.
And so you took this, you went out there and you said, here I am, I'm Luke Page, and I love you and I forgive you and I don't hate you anymore.
Yeah.
And you took your power back.
I took it back, man.
Hold on, I got something for you.
Yeah. Mate, I was looking at that thing. I'm thinking this dude's got sound effects on there. Yeah, beauty.
It's yeah. I mean, I'm sure that there's people watching this right now that are having that Tony Robbins moment you had, where they're going, like they're watching this podcast and they're just thinking about like life and moving forwards and doing this and doing that, and then maybe you've pulled on some heartstrings and going, wow, who do I blame in my life? Why am I not feeling love? Is my heart open or is it closed? Maybe it is closed. Fuck, who have I blamed my lack of success, or who have I blamed my body, or who have I blamed whatever on that I could, maybe this might be the catalyst to exploring that, if there's any epiphanies and things like that. But the fact of what you shared about your dad before, obviously sorry to hear that he's passed away, but what a gift you could give him as a son to open up his heart and experience more joy and more connection, without needing ecstasy.
Without needing ecstasy, yeah. 100%, yeah.
Wow, that's a fascinating story.
And you're saying about the people out there, because most people are hating someone. Most people are hating someone or blaming someone. And there's the me style, which is that person, fuck you, hate you.
Yeah.
And there's people out there that are like that, but there's actually a lot of people that aren't even aware of it. And that's, I guarantee you, the majority of people watching this is going to fall into one of those categories. You're either me and you're legit, I hate you, or there's a lot of people out there that are blaming their parents or someone in their life and they don't really know it. They're doing it subconsciously. And until you have the awareness around that and do exactly what I did and let it go, you're going to have your heart closed off. And when you have your heart closed off, this is what happens to you in life. You'll be surrounded by the wrong people. You'll have the wrong type of friends. You'll be working in a career that you don't love. You'll possibly be with the wrong partner. If you've got kids, you will be fucking them up, their future. You'll be basically passing on the shit that was passed on to you. Generational trauma. They'll go on and do the exact same thing that you're doing now, which is hating on someone, whether you're doing it consciously or subconsciously. And
just what stood out there is like, because I went on a similar journey, but just like when you are the victim, when you're blaming someone else, what you're saying is that you're the reason for whether it's consciously or unconsciously, could be just a belief system that you don't even know that you have, but you're the reason why I'm not where I want to be, or I had this happen to me, or whatever the case is. Yeah. we gave you the claps before because you took your power back, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of people are saying, well, I can't do this because of X. I can't do this because of Y. I don't have this because of Z. But when you do that, you're literally giving your power away. So when you actually blame yourself, or in your case, you're like, hey, look, what you did, you say, hey, look, I'm sorry for being, instead of waiting for your apology, which most people would argue, yeah, you did deserve that.
Yeah.
But instead you realize I'm not just doing this for her. It sounds like I'm doing this for myself as well. Like, you're taking your power back by going, okay, cool, I'm responsible for my side of the street. And
Exactly it.
And in doing so, that obviously made a big shift. So you've unraveled some stuff here. Like, walk me through, now we're at that point, right, where it was the first question I asked. Like, what was that point? How long did it take you? You said you just started searching? You didn't know? Was that like the dark night of the soul type thing where you felt lost, or was it liberating where you felt excited? Because it can go two ways. It can go one or two ways. When you've held on to a certain identity for such a long time, even though you let go of it and that was quote unquote holding you back, sometimes when our ego identity doesn't really know what to do next, it's like uncertain. That can be very, I'm curious, what was your journey through that?
I guess it was weird, man, because I had actually started, even though I was working at that window furnishings company, I had started my own business because the plan was like, I'm like, okay, I was ready to move out of that business, but I'd started my own business, which was in the same industry. And I started that to make money, not because I liked it.
You just thought I can do this better than them.
That's
and I'm
all it
already
was.
kind of doing it.
That's it, man. So the realization was after that was, what am I doing in this business? I'm like,
I don't even like this.
I don't even fucking like it. I'm doing this to make money.
Because it was the easiest next thing.
It was the
rather
easiest
than the
next
thing that
thing.
was really on my heart that I would love to do.
100%, man. So it was like the realization from that was like, what do I want to do?
Yeah.
And then that was the thing. I mean, I was following Ryan Madges at the time, yeah. Because I just, I'd always been into personal development, and I don't know how I came across him. Maybe I saw one of his fear videos.
Yeah.
And I started to speak to him through, by the way, Ryan Madges is my old boss.
And we had him on the podcast. He was episode, I want to say, I don't know. I think he might have been episode 5.
What episode is this?
I don't know yet. It depends on which I've got about 4 or 5 that I've kind of recorded prior to this. So I don't necessarily release them in the order that they're.
Gotcha.
I'm about a month or 6 weeks ahead.
That's all right. That's good, man. I'm only a week ahead of mine, so
Because I'm going traveling,
Yeah.
and it's all in person. I can't do them online.
Oh, you got to be.
I've got to
more
be a
prepared.
month, 2 months
definitely.
ahead. So you'll work. So you started speaking to Ryan. Ryan Madges, who's now known as Ryan Magic.
Ryan Magic, yes. I'm doing the inverted commas here, Ryan Magic, because I thought I was speaking to him, but I was actually speaking to someone else, which is
gotcha.
Dan Baldasso. Oh, which is so fucking funny because I'm good mates with Dan now. And basically, so Dan was, Ryan's busy dude. He's got these people working for him.
Yeah.
It's just a lead generation thing. So you speak to the audience through DMs.
Yes.
And it's
but he's in Ryan's account.
He's in Ryan's account, acting as Ryan, speaking to these people that follow him as a way to generate leads and bringing them into the company, right?
As a sales role.
That's it. So basically, Dan's like, what do you do with your stuff? And I'm like, I got this business and I help people basically find a blinds company that's right for their home. And he's like, what, dude? He goes, I looked at your Facebook profile. You kind of talk about self-development and stuff. He goes, man, you're meant to be a coach, man. And I'm like, And I was just at that point where I'm like, as
what was that noise again?
Yeah. I'm like, here's this guy that I look up to who's got all these 100,000 followers and doing this cool shit.
This is why it's important that you thought, because if Tony Robbins was saying, hey, Luke, you're meant to be a coach, you take that very differently than if, your sister says to you, hey, Luke, you should be a coach.
Yeah, because I look up to him.
Yeah.
And I love the personal development stuff, right? So Dan, acting as Ryan, said, you're meant to be a coach. And then it was just at that point of time where I had just done the thing with the sister and let it all go. And I was kind of like, okay, what am I doing? And in that little tricky period, it was like, who the fuck am I?
Yeah. Do I even like these fucking blinds? I don't care about blinds.
These fucking blinds? So when he said that, it was almost like, shit, maybe I'm not meant. And this is the biggest thing, was that maybe I'm not meant to be a business owner. And I remember I was in a business. Do you know Jack DeLosa?
Yeah.
So I was getting coached by Jack DeLosa, and I remember I went to just down here, man. I went to a dinner meetup with a group of that were in, and it was at the bloody pizza joint down here. And I said to him, I said, "This is what's going on in my life, man." I go, "This has just happened." He goes, "Now," I said, "Now I'm feeling this way." And he said to me, he goes, "Some people just aren't meant to be business owners, man." He goes, "Business isn't for everyone. Some people make the world's greatest number twos, and that's completely fine." And I thought about it, and I'm like, I've been telling myself this whole time, I'm going to be a business owner. I'm meant to be a business owner. It's my vision. I'm meant to be a business owner. My parents are business owners. My dad's a business owner. In my vision, my business, to get all that money that I want, I'm meant to be a business owner. And then in that moment when he said that, I'm kind of like, maybe I'm meant to be a business owner. Maybe I'm meant to be a great number two, because I had been a great number two in that blinds company. Yeah. And maybe that's okay. Maybe my vision, the way that I thought it was going to turn out, is slightly changing, and that's okay. So from there, I basically went back to Dan and said, "Dude, I want to work for you guys."
Pause for 1 second. He said, "I think you should be a coach." Well, that usually means you're starting your own business. What made you, like, you sound like you didn't listen to that and you're thinking, I don't care about being a coach. I just want to work for them.
Yeah.
How did that?
Because it was the number two thing. I'm just like, I'm going to go work for this dude and become number two.
You don't. Oh, so okay. So you're thinking, look, maybe I don't. Maybe I'm with you now.
I want to coach people. I don't want to coach in business.
I'm with you.
I want to coach people. I love stuff. I want to break people through. I want to do all that shit and help them. And there's Brian.
You want to work for him as a coach, because originally, because obviously I did his, when you were the one who sold me in. That's how we know each other. And so, because my experience was different, I was already a coach and I wanted to grow a coaching business.
Exactly. Yep.
So yours was a different experience. You're thinking, okay, cool. Here's this really cool guy. He's young. He's making waves. I want to be in that company. I want to, and have maybe, and then Jack added into that, and so a few things lined up.
100%. And Jack was Ryan's coach.
Yes.
He ended up becoming Ryan's coach. Yeah. Because it was all kind of weird. It was all like synergism. All together. Yeah, that's what it was. So, so Dan was reaching out to me as Ryan to sell me into the program.
That's why I assumed what was happening.
So that's not what happened though. I then
you
went
and
back.
sold him.
I went and sold him. I basically said, message to say, "Hey Ben, I want to work for you guys."
Yeah.
And I sent them this fucking crazy video, because I'm just like, how do I get this dude's attention?
You went back to the book. You went back to the
fucking
back to the
Dale
how to
Carnegie,
influence people.
All that shit, mate. So I'm just like, I got to get a job with this dude, and I will just do whatever I need to fucking do. That's the way I've always been. And it's like, getting jobs for me has never been a problem, because I just look what anyone else is doing and I do it differently. Yeah. So I'm just like, I'm getting a job and working for this dude. I'll do whatever the fuck it takes. And I made this weird fucking video in my car. I can't remember what I spoke about. Actually, you know what I spoke about? I spoke about Ryan had just posted a video about some girl had written a love song about him and Danny, his girlfriend at the time.
Okay. Yeah.
And I sung the song in the video. So I'm like, "Hey, Ryan, man, this is fucking weird. I want to work for you, but hey, I just saw that video. I go, I reckon I could beat that singer." And I'm just like, I've got to get his attention.
He just, I gotcha.
So I sang this fucking song.
Yeah. Which takes balls, and that,
Yeah, I was just like, what have I got to do to get this dude's attention? Anyway, got an interview, got the job. And that was a really interesting time at Winning Dan, because when we met, that was like a period in my life where I was just confused. I was lost and confused, man, because I'd gone from and looking at it, it was almost my identity was breaking down, because my identity previous to that was business owner, successful dude, runs the show.
Yes.
And it's almost like that led me to not what I wanted in life. And then I was kind of like, okay, what do I want? And like, okay, I got to follow my heart. And because I was like on this new journey now, I was like almost letting go of almost anything that I had previously.
Anything that represented the old life, you're like, that led me to this, so I want something different. Got to do something different. Tony Robbins.
Yeah. So that's what it was. When I went into the company, I was like, I went in there going, okay, maybe I'm not meant to be a business owner. I'm just meant to be a great number two. How did I become a great number two at my previous company? I went in there humble as fuck, knowing nothing, and just said, I'm going to learn and shut up, listen and learn.
Yep.
So I went into winning with the same attitude where I'm like, I know nothing and I will do anything that they say and I'll become whoever I need to be. You just tell me who I need to be. And man, I was listening because they had 18-year-olds in the company. I don't know if you were there then, but they had
as
Spencer,
clients, or you mean as
the workers?
Staff?
Yeah, man, they had like this guy Spencer. I think he was 18. They had what's his name? Oh, I've forgotten his name. But a couple of real young dudes, and I was at the time, I think I was like 30 or 31, and man, I was sitting down and letting them tell me what to do because I was just like, dude, I'm just going to shut the hell up and forget everything that I know and forget that I had managed all these staff and all that and done this with the company.
That's so interesting.
And I'm just like, I'm just going to shut the fuck up and let them run me. You know what I mean? So it was so weird.
You almost, remember how you were talking about before about in the blinds place?
Yeah.
Do you think you did that because that's what the older guys didn't do to you because you were the younger manager, remember?
Possibly, man. Possibly. I haven't thought about that.
Because it's a really interesting thing. Like, I mean, you don't have to go in. The way that you're describing it to me makes it not feel like you're just being humble and being nice. It makes me feel like you're forgetting all of the things, all of the value that you've brought, and you're kind of just blindly doing it. Am I correct in saying that? Like, do you think it's a negative or positive thing?
I just think because I was like, I'd gone from having, a clear direction to it being shattered. And mind you, I'd been on that pursuit for 13 years.
Yeah, wow.
And when you have a 13-year vision get crumbled down in front of you, then you're like, who am I? What am I doing? So I was on this journey of, I'm now following my heart and I'm not used to this. Yeah. So I'm just going to I'm a little plastic bag.
I'm some Play-Doh.
I'm a little bit of Play-Doh. Mold me. I'm whatever. I'm going to do whatever. Yeah, I'm just going to shut the hell up and I'm just going to learn. And yeah, winning experience was the first time that it was the environment where Ryan created where it was like encouraged to be vulnerable, man. And I'd never had that before. So it was so healing for me and it was so unnatural. But it was so healing because it was, we'd have these little ciggy circles on Friday. Do you know what a ciggy circle is?
Ciggy, like a cigarette?
I thought it was that, but it was a significance. So basically on the Friday, we stand in a circle and we basically go around and give significance. So it'd be like this. I just want to give Siggy to Scotty. Scotty, man, I heard you on a call earlier on Tuesday and just the way that you stayed in your strength, even when they were giving objection after objection after objection, you just stood there and just didn't give up. I just want to give Siggy to that, bro. And you go around, just give Siggy, and man, it would last 2 hours. It'd be like 5:30 on a Friday night. And then we're doing this Siggy, and we're all there 2 hours later, giving Siggy, to the point where we all ran as Siggies. And like you'd be going around just giving love to everyone, getting love, receiving. And just the whole process, man, of the winning thing, it was just, so much love in that group. So much that I'd gone from I can't express any vulnerability. Being in that blinds company, I was the manager. I couldn't express that I was anxious to go run this sales meeting because these guys fucking hated me.
And now you're giving Siggies for 2 hours.
Now you're giving Siggies 2 hours. So I finally got to be able to release and say, I'm fucking scared. Man, I don't know what I'm fucking doing. I don't feel comfortable doing this. And like we used to do the morning ritual and we would dance. The only time I fucking danced when I was on the pingers.
Yeah.
And we're dancing sober. So that was even though it was a really lost and confused time, and when we met, dude, I just wasn't me. Like, because I'd gone from being that, okay, I'm a leader in life to when I was at winning, I was a follower.
Yeah.
You might have saw me as a leader, but dude, I was a follower as hell because I went in there going, just go in here, shut the hell up, Luke, forget everything that you know, and you are starting at the bottom now. You learn and you'll get to number 2 very quickly. And that's what was my plan was. And I pretty much did get to number 2 in winning. And mainly because everyone fucking left.
you were still you don't have to be number 1 to be a leader. Do you know what I mean? In my opinion, you were still a leader to many of us at the time.
Yep.
You were a leader to me when you broke me through my fears and got me to sign up, caveat, Luke was I don't think we said that on camera. We were saying it off camera while we changed the batteries over. I signed up to this to winning, and Luke was the person who I had on the sales call. That's like how we, introduced. And I remember you go through the 2-step process, from the first call, and I won't go through the whole thing, but the point that stands out is that I was thinking I can do this without these guys.
Yeah.
Like I've been a coach for 10 years, I've got the plans to do this and plans to do that. But I was doing what some people do. I just want to get as much free information out of these guys that I can. Right? That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, beauty.
So you're like, if you come on to the next call, I'm going to give you this roadmap to 100K on online business. And but to do that, you need to fill out this thing for me. So I'm like, okay. I filled and the form was like, it got to like, what's your why? And I wrote down my why. Now, I'm curious. I'm not sure if this is, what you were trained to do from a sales perspective, or this is just whatever, but it worked. And I wrote down my why, and we jumped back on the call. We had a call scheduled, and you were like, Scotty, that why's not good enough. I'm like, what do you mean? I can't remember what it was, but you said this is going to be the hardest thing you've ever done in your fucking life. Like this, I think in the sales training, 94% of coaches, don't break through, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, wow. And you're like, we're not going to do this call today.
That's what I said.
That's what you said to me. We're not going to do this call today because you're going to need more than that to break to do this. That's not strong enough.
Okay.
And I was like, fuck. What do you mean? It's
what do you
not
mean,
strong
mate? I
enough.
want the information, dude.
And so then I went from you took the lead. I went from being on there. Suddenly you flipped the script. I'm not sure if you've read the book by Oren Claft. He calls that being the prize frame. And so you made yourself out as a prize. Hold on, I'm qualifying you here. So I've gone away, and you said you need to dig deeper than you've ever dug before. So I wrote down like if it is the darkest shit that you could possibly imagine. But then after that point, I came back. That point right there, I'm sold. Next, I think within 24 hours, I've signed up to a $20,000 program, and since then, that's 6 years ago. Like, look at where I'm at right now. I could still be stuck in a gym. So, I just want to pull you out and say, even though you know that you're a leader now, even to go back there, you were a different type of leader, and yes, you were number 2 in the company, but you were still a leader for many people. And despite some people, whether they got results, you can get results in winning. I think that I learnt so much from being around that environment as well. Yeah,
cool, man. That's a really cool perspective, because I don't remember it for starters. I mean, obviously, I did number heaps of calls.
Yeah.
But it's just interesting how certain people, there's certain things they do stick with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know whether that was a sales technique or I actually genuinely did it. I dare say it would have been a little combination of both, because...
By the way, you opened up to me about your sister.
Yes,
100%. You said to me, like, as an example, this is my why.
Yeah.
And you shared about sisters. And what I ended up writing was it about my dad, that I didn't want to end up like my dad.
Yes.
And if I did, if I didn't make this program work, like the cost of inaction, then these were all of my deepest, darkest fears, and they all ended up with me basically killing myself.
Right. Yeah. And look, the sharing, because that was finding the leverage, right? Why you got to do this. That was definitely point number 4. Yeah, you got to do the leverage. And it was literally, because if you ask someone the general thing, the sales thing, when you get in a call, it's like, why have you got to do this? Yeah, what's your reason behind growing a business, or what are the thing that you want to do? And most people aren't going to go deep into this shit. They're like, I want to provide for my family and all that type of thing.
I want to have more freedom.
I want to have freedom.
These are nice things to have. These aren't musts.
No, exactly not. So it's like you have to go first. You have to show them what you want out of them. So if I've just met you and we're on a sales call and I'm like, so man, Scotty, why have you got to do this? Like, what's the reason? Why do you want to grow a successful coaching business? If I just say that, you're just going to do the surface level shit, right? What you're not going to do is you're not going to give me what I want and what you need to hear yourself, right? Which is the depth of it. So I have to go first to demonstrate what you need to then follow up with. So that's why I share my story with my sister, because I go a deep, in-depth, emotional, vulnerable story to then go, Scotty, that's what I want out of you.
And now I feel safe to share a vulnerable story because you shared one with me. I think that's the beautiful thing about vulnerability. If you were to like have that as a theme for the podcast today, because a lot of men struggle with that.
Yeah.
You giving me that vulnerability. When I tell you that for that year in winning, I cried more in that year than I ever have in my entire life.
Oh, probably the same.
And the amount of anxiety that I had every day doing all of the challenges and doing the things, and had I not have had that leverage, I can guarantee, and paid the 20 grand. I think how much you pay in anything, a lot of determines you pay to play in a sense. If you pay a little bit, that's how invested you are. Emotionally as well. So I paid 20 grand, the most expensive amount of money that every single person in my life told me I was nuts for spending. I wasn't going to quit. And every time I just wanted to die inside and just thought like, this just sucks.
Yes.
I remembered that leverage and I remembered the money. And I think, I think if someone is watching this right now and they're not feeling that power or whatever, like go back and revisit your leverage. But so to go back to, so you're at winning, you're doing all this sales stuff, you're a little bit lost, but you're still helping people. What happened from there?
Mate, I just I got the itch. I got about a year in, and Ryan started to lose his vision, and I'm just like, I need a vision because I'm so passionate about visions.
The year that I was in there, wasn't it?
What was that? Sorry,
you left how long were you at winning for in total?
About a year and a half.
Okay, gotcha. You left in about with a couple of months to go in my year. So
okay, you're still going. Okay. So it was this, Ryan's vision that was originally what it was, which is kind of helping 1 billion people, I think it was from memory. We spoke about that, we're going to have a office in Los Angeles and all that shit. My vision was I'm going to be there, but I'm going to be number 2 and I'm going to be fucking doing all the Tony Robbins shit.
Yes.
Mags can have all the responsibility, all good, but I'll be number 2 and I'll be in with it. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Then when he started going through his shit and his vision started breaking down, he went from wanting that to losing himself, just like I was kind of losing myself, right? And he went into spirituality, and the vision that I was sold into but working for the company was dying. So then from there, I'm like, what the fuck's going on? I'm like, well, I still want this vision. I'm still excited by it, but I'm like, this ain't happening here. And I'm like, well, I'm just going to do it myself. I'm just like, and there's so many things about the company once you get into it and you got from the point where you're learning, you're being molded, then you start to go, there's gaps there, there's holes there. I don't like how that's done. And it was just getting to that point, a year in, man, where I'm just like, I reckon I could do this. If I did it, I'd do it this way. And that's the thing is if you want to be a leader and you're not working for yourself, you will only go so high until you can't call the shots, man, because you're always answering to the person above you. And it got to that point where I'm just like, man, I want to do it this way. And like, I'm not allowed to. I want to do it this way. I'm not allowed to. So, I was just kind of like, man, well, I guess the next step is me just leaving and doing it myself. So it was kind of like the breaking down of identity. I'm not meant to be a business owner. I always thought I'm meant to be a business owner. Went through, learned the whole process of, letting go of all this vulnerability, learn to be vulnerable, learn about the coaching industry. I'd always been great at sales. I had been selling for over a decade. I'd learned a bit about marketing, and I'm like, well, cool, I like this coaching thing. And I'm like, I'm just going to fucking do my own thing. All right, cool. It was a scary decision. But I remember saying, it was weird. It was almost like when I quit school. I quit on the day without even thinking of it. I remember we had a Monday morning. We were in WeWork. We had a Monday team meeting. I don't think Mags rocked up, and I'm just like, I'm done. The vision's over here.
Do you think that was because he didn't rock up to the meeting?
Well, it was just kind of like he was gone from the visionary to he was kind of losing it all, and like just whatever shit was going on with him, and he just wasn't there as much anymore. Kind of just put on us,
and he wasn't being the leader that you. That
was it.
Yeah.
Well, the vision was breaking down. The vision that he sold me, which I was so excited about, it was like I just was like, I'm not confident he's going to be able to do that anymore. So
I'm happy to be a number 2 to that vision. I'm not happy to be just a number.
Yep.
To this current
yeah, what was in, I'm just like, this is not for me anymore. I got to get out of this place. So yeah, he didn't rock up to that meeting. I'm just like, all right, nah, I'm done. And he came in an hour later and I said, man, can I just have a chat with you? I said, man, yeah, I think I'm done here, man. And it was weird because there was zero resistance from him. He was just like, I understand. But it was because of his company was breaking down, which we just obviously, it ended up, you know, winning closed down a couple of months later. So obviously he was going through a lot of shit and he was just kind of like, you know, just trying to deal with it, I guess. So it was just like, oh, I guess his dream was blowing up, and when I just said I'm going, there's no resistance to it because he's just kind of like,
he's like the captain going down with the ship, and he doesn't blame you for leaving. Is that kind of what you're thinking?
I just think that he knew that it was dying, and he's just like, I can't control it anymore. It's gone. Yeah,
surrender.
So, hey, it's one less wage he's got to pay, I guess.
Yeah, gotcha.
And we're getting paid. I mean, not good money, but for good money.
Like we're commission.
We're on a high base plus commission, and like I think the base was like 75, 80, which that's pretty high for a sales role.
That's very high for a sales role.
Yeah. So,
and what sort of commission were you getting? 10%?
I can't even remember, to be honest.
Yeah.
I can't remember. 10%.
Normally, it might be as high as 15 to 20 with a very low.
I honestly can't remember,
very
man.
low base, but if you've got a high base, it's usually.
I can't remember. You might have been making a couple of grand per sale or something like that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't remember, man. But that was it. I was just like, I quit, and it's funny because I told my wife, I said I quit. And she's like, what are you doing? She goes, you can't just quit. You can't like, it was like that. It's like, you can't just quit. Like, you know, we've got a mortgage to pay and all this shit. And like, I got to go. And I hadn't even really sorted out what I was going to do.
Yeah.
Like I hadn't been like, I'm going to go start my own coaching business. I'm just like, I
just don't want this. I don't know what I'm going to do here.
Yeah, I'm done. So that was the first step into an uncertainty, which I'd always been, I've got to have finances there. I've got to have things certain in my life. That was the first point where I'm like, I'm letting go of certainty, yeah. And I'm like, I'm stepping out and quitting just because it's the right thing for my heart.
I'm with you now. I was like, where's he?
I'm just going to fucking figure it out, yeah. So, yeah, I think it took me about a week or two of being in limbo, and I saw a little spiritual person. It's funny because you always turn to spirituality.
I saw a little spiritual person.
I saw a little spiritual person. One of the winning clients said, "Go, Luke, speak to this lady, Luke. She'll tell you what you need to do." And all she said is, she said that I can just see you're speaking on stage in front of people. And he goes, and she said that, and you're going to be working with women. And I'm like, interesting. Which is interesting because 70% of my clients are women.
Yeah.
Anyway, and back in winning days, I worked with men only.
Yeah.
I didn't have any female clients. So yeah, man, I was just like, I eventually started my own coaching business, and that got me back into, okay, the old Luke of the leader, the drive, the ambitious Luke was back, but now that masculine side of Luke was coupled with a feminine energy.
Yeah.
So the drive and the masculinity, that version of Luke through his 20s.
I'll do anything it takes.
Do anything it takes.
Yeah.
When I went to winning, it's almost like a lot of that was gone and the feminine was coming out of me.
Yeah.
Now I was like learning to become the Luke that had the two energies together.
So you're integrated. So you've, yeah, that makes sense. So because you surrendered, so you're going number 2, which is more of a, more of a role of giving up that more masculine role of being the driver and the visionary.
Yep.
Circled back around. So it's almost like you had to go and live through that place of being the number 2 in order to be the better number 1 in a sense. So you could integrate those. And so obviously fast forward today, you've been doing that for what, 5?
Just over 5 years, man. So we hit 5 years in March. I think it was like March 20th or something like that. So it's been a fucking crazy ride. It's funny because I remember when I first started my coaching business and like the goals that I had, and I was like, in 3 months' time, I'm going to be doing 3K a week, and I created all the Facebook ads and stuff like that. And I remember I think I put like 7 or 11K, so either 7 or 11, one of those, into Facebook ads, and I lost it instantly. I got nothing. So it was really interesting because I had to learn how to market, man.
Yeah.
I could sell, but I didn't know how to market. Yeah. So that was the main thing, is that I had to teach myself how to be a marketer. And yeah, it's just been a fucking really cool journey. And it's like all the growth that I've got out of it, because I'm just, my top value is growth.
Yeah.
And if that's your top value, like fucking become a business owner, because that's what's going to fuel you. So
whether you like it or enjoy it all the time, that's a different story. But the point is, if you have a high value on wanting to be great, well, it gives meaning to those moments that are tough and challenging, because later on you sit here on the podcast and you go, wow, that time was tough, but it gave me this skill, this character trait, it integrated this thing, and I learnt that lesson.
Yeah, I'd say like the first, and it's kind of like I went through a winter period of my life, dude. I don't know if you read my post that I did recently. But
I did, yeah. That's what motivated me to. We'd already tried to hook up last time, but I don't think I ended up coming down. But that's what re-motivated me, because I was thinking, wow, I really resonated with that, and I think that's a beautiful thing. Would you like to share what that post was about?
Mate, it was basically like I went through a winter period of my life, which I only really started turning around the start of this year, man. I basically went through like 4 solid years of just resistance.
This is the most, like, this is the most recent years, right?
This is recent.
Until just this year. So basically after the first year of your coaching business until now.
Pretty much.
6 months ago. 4 months
it was like the first year of my coaching business was like life outside business was fairly rosy. I had the challenges of business, but it was like fucking whatever. Yeah. Like it's just like, that's just what business is. But there was like about a year into my business, just everything outside my life started to fucking break down, man. And it was just, fuck, I'd have to go to the post to remember everything. But
I think there was your dad.
Yeah, it was COVID started, yeah. It was the extreme lockdowns, if you live in Melbourne, how tough that was. I didn't get vaxxed, so I had the world against me.
Yes.
That was really hard to deal, like going out without a mask on, because I was like, fuck authority. Yeah. I ain't doing what they're saying. So I'd walk out without a mask on and I'd have people fucking yelling at me like, fucking put your mask on.
You're going to kill grandmas.
You're going to kill grandma. So that was really so heavy to deal with, right? My dad gets diagnosed with cancer. This is in the middle of lockdowns. We're not meant to go see him. I'm breaking the rules to go see my parents and stuff like that. I'm called a fucking murderer for going to do it.
Yeah.
So all this shit. My dad dies. Our son's born. We go through financial stress, marital stress, parental stress of just bringing up kids, like you know how it is. Then our grandparents die. Yeah, my wife's nan dies when we were really close with her. Then a few months later, her pop dies. Then my nana dies. It was this shit after shit after shit after shit after shit after shit. No jokes for 4 years continuously, and there's no breaks, man. There was like constant shitness. Now, all that whilst I had to be a coach, which you know what it's like.
Yeah, you've got to be a leader for others, and you're struggling internally.
Fuck yeah. Being a coach, man, is one of the hardest things you can ever do, because if you're being a leader for someone, you got to show emotionally for your audience, your clients and your team and everything like that. It's one of the hardest fucking things you got to do.
There's nowhere to hide.
There's nowhere to hide, man.
You can't hide in the office. You're on camera. You're doing lives. You're doing podcasts. You're teaching on masterclasses. You're creating content. You're helping people overcome, their own issues.
Their shit, yeah. And that's what it is. It's like, say if you're a mechanic, you're fixing cars. Okay, you've got to quickly say, hey, thanks for dropping the car off, but you can just fix the car and deal with your shit there. But you're in front of these people nonstop.
Yes. That's the entire job.
They've come to you to pay you money because they've got problems. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And a big part of it with coaches, especially the coaches I help, it's not the strategy. It's the fucking mindset and the shit and the fears.
Yeah.
And the baggage that they're holding. So it was really hard, man, to manage the shit in my life.
Because you had to hold space for your clients as well.
And then show up for my clients. It was really hard to deal with, man. And I actually did pretty well. And I never went fucking missing.
You were very, I was going to say, you're very consistent. Nobody, besides that post, as far as I can tell, nobody knew anything.
Look, I did speak about it, man. Especially if you follow my podcast closely, I definitely did speak about, not all of it, but I did speak about a lot of it. But it was the thing, man, is that I like to speak about it, but my family don't. So I've got
gotcha.
to be careful because
You're honouring
I
them.
want to talk about it on Insta, but my wife says, don't fucking say that. Or my family says, don't mention that about sister. So I hide it in my podcasts because I know that a lot of the time they won't be listening, even though some of them they do.
Yeah.
But it's like I've wanted to talk about it, but I can't because I've got to have respect for the people that are involved in it. So that's been a hard thing as well because I'm like, man, I want to talk about this shit, but I'm almost like I can't because
I know. Yeah.
so that was really hard. But that was that period of 4 fucking years, man.
I'm just in the trenches,
In the trenches, dude. And I just never
copping
I'd
machine
never had
gun
it.
fire nonstop.
Yeah, I'd never have it, man. And I was a weak little protected dude before I went into that.
Interesting.
Because everything came easy in my life. And even though I described the winning thing and going through the confusion and shit, that wasn't super hard. It was just, I'm lost and confused.
It's relatively hard based off your past. But then you're going, oh, wow, I thought that was hard. This is what hard feels like.
You know what? That's exactly right. Because going through the winning thing, I was saying that was hard.
Yes.
But you're right. Because now looking back, I'm like, that was fucking nothing.
Yeah.
That was nothing. And
this is, I think this is a great point to share. If someone is going through that hard, is like it always is relevant. A lot of it is the mind game. If you're comparing how hard this is against how that thing is, then it feels hard. But if you realize, if you can get to a point where later on you're going to end up saying, well, that was easy compared to this, then was it really hard in the first place?
Yep.
Well, it was experientially, but there's some power in catching some of those things sometimes and going like, I decide whether this is hard or not. I decide if I'm tired today or not. I decide. There's some realities to it as well.
Yeah.
But what were your biggest like lessons coming out the back end of that?
Yeah, you know what? I just kind of look forward and I don't know if I finished the line before where I was saying about spirituality and people turn to God and spirituality and religion. If you're not born into it, a lot of people turn to it when your life's going to fucking shit.
Yes.
And that's what happened to me because what you do is you're trying to figure out why is all this happening?
Yes.
And there's only one way to go, which is to the top, the old man upstairs or the old girl upstairs or whatever you want to say it. Because you're looking for answers, you can't find the fucking logical answers. So there's only one way to go, which is going to God or spirituality, whatever it is, right? And through my spirituality experience, I kind of learned all that, like the laws of the universe and stuff like that. And there's this law of polarity and law of rhythm. Have you heard about this stuff?
Yeah.
So learning, anyone that doesn't know, law of polarity basically states that anything that exists in life must exist a complete opposite. So hot, cold, up, down, east, west, left, right, that type of thing, night, day, summer, winter. And it kind of gives meaning to what you're going through and helps you cope and get through it. And one thing that I kind of learnt through that was like, well, I'm in a fucking winter phase.
Yes.
I am if you're talking about the law of rhythm states that the life swings over from
pendulums.
summer to winter, and it swings through the season and it's going to happen to you. So I'm just like, cool, I'm in a winter phase.
That means the summer phase is exactly.
It's coming, dude. That really gave me hope through the shitness. And if you looked at, say, my wife and I, who we were so close to divorcing, right? I was like, she was almost like the pendulum is stuck in winter and that's going to be us for life. Yeah. I'm like, this is a moment in time. And I know that the shitness right now, I know we're gonna experience the exact opposite. It's a law. Because I'm not giving up. I'm not fucking just going, okay, this is done. It's a divorce. Or I'm not meant to be a fucking coach or, I'm just going to fucking, I'm going to quit because, my dad's died and I'm just going to get depressed and get on fucking, antidepressants and all that shit, right? So I'm like, I ain't doing that shit. This is fucking hard, but I'm getting through it. My vision, I want it. I'm getting it. And I'm going to keep on going for it. And I know that the shitness I'm feeling right now, I'm going to experience the exact opposite very, very fucking soon. So I just pushed and pushed and pushed and never gave up. And yeah, man, it was it's what I needed because I was a soft little marshmallow, man. I was a soft little marshmallow that a little gust of wind would have blown me over back in my 20s. Now I'm equipped. I'm equipped, dude, for the vision and the life that I want. And I know that over the next few years, I'm going to experience amazing things, right? and I know shitness will come for me again, but I'll be a different person to handle it. I won't handle it. I won't have to handle it.
It won't be as shit because of who you are.
Yes, exactly. It was kind of what you said before.
The experience.
I think what you said something where I'm like, it's your perception of what's hard and things like that.
Yeah, it's all relative.
So I think it's that where, okay, tough times will come back for me, but whether I choose to call it a tough time or it's just, hey, this is a bit challenging, or this is like, hey, it is what it is, that really will distinguish the weight that comes with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to add something. So there's I call those frameworks. So there's spiritual laws, but I find that for me, yes, frameworks. I put everything in life into a framework now using spiritual laws and different things because I find it helps me. It's like it helps me look at that thing through a lens that is much more empowering. So yes, of course, there's the pendulum stuff. Some might also say there's 4 seasons, like there is the weather. So there's the seed of planting the seeds. There's the things where things are falling away, whether that be relationships, business, things like that. Seasons where summer, you're dancing, it's fun. Hey, I'm winning. So there's obviously that, but yeah, I feel like there's like 3 layers of what you just shared before. Where at first you're the victim. Yep. That's level 1 of like when shit's going down. That's one level of empowerment that you can be at. Then there's neutrality. Neutrality is like, okay, that's looking through the spiritual law, and it's going, okay, I understand that right now it's shit, but because I understand the pendulum or the 4 seasons frameworks of the way the universe works, I'm neutral to the situation and I'm not. And so that's another level of empowerment. There's a whole nother level of empowerment that you can even go to, which is realizing that, especially it comes back to the growth mindset you're talking about, when you actually are grateful for the challenges, going, wow, I know that if I'm going through the shit right now, something fucking awesome's coming, because that's the way the universe works. That's the way these spiritual laws work. And have a look back at any other time in my life when I dumped that fucking girl that was cheating on me, or that boss sacked me. I thought it was the worst thing that ever happened to me.
Yeah.
It actually turned out to be the best thing, because then if that thing hadn't happened, then that thing did. And so like I also was like soft as marshmallow.
Marshmallow. Yeah.
I was so sensitive, unbelievably sensitive, and I just found everything challenging. And life has a way of there's this great thing I used to listen to. It's like one of those morning motivation things on YouTube by what's that, Steve Harvey, or not Steve Harvey, who's that black guy? Is he
Old school?
Harvey, what's his name? He owns like he's an ex-comedian. Anyways, this guy, he's got this thing, and he basically says that basically just God's preparing you, right? And that you're getting given, and this is my new belief system, which is what I call, there's the victim mindset, there's the neutrality mindset, and then there's the victor mindset. And the victor mindset is going, okay, cool, this thing is happening for me, not to me, to serve me, not stop me, and is always a redirection, never a rejection. And I've said that probably 1,000,000 times to my clients, and every time something hard's happening, I'm like, initially I feel that little soft little boy. And I feel him going, why me? It's so hard. Life's so hard. It's so challenging. Boo hoo hoo. And then I feel that. I identify with that for a moment, many times still. But then the higher consciousness, or the developed version of me, witnesses that little boy. He goes, hey buddy, it's all right. I'm here for you. I got your motherfucking back, bro. He steps in, and then he says, remember the laws, remember this, remember that. Suddenly I'm going, you know what? If this thing's happening to me, then that means that I'm getting prepared for something. I need this. There's a lesson that I'm supposed to learn from this, or a skill or a character trait that I'm getting given as a gift through this tumultuous situation that I have to be given. And this is the only way that I can get it, through this pain right now, because in 12 months, 3 months, 6 months, 3 years time, the exact thing that I'm getting from this, I'm going to need for that. So it's like it's like an initiation or a preparation. And I've found that to be extremely, extremely helpful. And almost now, anything that bad happens, yes, it still sucks, but it's relevant through the lens at which,
of course,
we look at.
Yeah, man. It's something that everyone's going to go through. If you haven't already gone through it, you will. And you're either going to become a victim to it, and a victim basically means you give up to some degree. And
you blame that thing and give it all of your power.
That's it. It's exactly what it is. Or you come out the other side stronger. Yeah. I just think most people, just when they go through their shit, they quit. That's it. And, that's the thing with, who I help coaches grow their business. That's the biggest thing that they come up against is just quitting.
Yeah.
It's kind of like it's sold that it's so easy.
Yes.
And it's so far from the fucking truth.
Yeah.
So they come in starting their coaching business and they're like, well, you know what? And whether it's coaching business or whether it's your dream, it doesn't matter.
Whatever. It's your vision.
It's way fucking harder than you think it's going to be.
Every single time.
It is. If you have the actual courage to finally go, I'm going to do this. That's the first step, which most people don't even ever take. First step is going, I'm going to do this and start going for it. Once you walk down the path, the path is way harder than you think it is. And just most people drop off.
Yeah.
It's not worth it. It's not worth the shit. It's not worth the mud. It's not worth this feeling that I'm feeling, the anxiety or whatever it is for you. It's not worth if you've got a partner, my partner fucking hating on me.
Or leaving me.
Or it's not worth all my friends fucking, thinking that you're weird and, you're losing connection with your friends. And whilst they're partying, you're home working on your business.
Yeah. How do you feel like people, or what's been your experience to how to discern whether it is right or wrong? Because sometimes I think that the smart thing is to quit because you're on the wrong path. Other times you've got to discern if that is the case. If you're changing, not quitting the big vision, but maybe quitting this business to start the next one or take a break or whatever.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people struggle with, and that's why they don't make the decisions or they just quit.
Yeah.
What for you do you think is the thing that aids you or aids a person in discerning the difference between what is a redirection?
Yep.
And what is life asking me to rise right now?
Yep.
Or is it asking me to pivot?
Yeah, that's a good question, man. I would say it comes down to two things. Number one is your vision. You got to have a vision that you're willing to die for. I speak to so many people where I'm like, tell me about your vision. And they tell me about their vision, and I'm like, you ain't going to make it with that vision. You don't give a fuck about it. It's just the surface level shit.
You're just thinking that this is going to make your life better, and you're not grounded in the work that's going to take.
You're doing it for freedom. Yeah. And if you're doing it for freedom, then you're in the wrong path because growing your business, okay, down the track, possibly you can get it to that point, possibly, but you ain't going to have the freedom getting there. And it's kind of like, it's like you've got to be with the business. You've got to be attached not to the freedom. You've got to be attached to the thing that you're doing. So, for example, I love helping people or I love changing people's lives. If you're attached to that, then you'll be putting up with the shit along the way.
Yeah.
So your question was, how do you distinguish whether you should give up or pivot?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so number one is you just got to have a vision that you're willing to fucking die for. It's a thing you think about all the fucking time. You're obsessed with it, and it's your thing, and that's what you're going for. You ain't going to let anything stop you. The second thing is, even though you're going through shit and you got to do shit things, do you still love this?
Yeah.
Because with me doing the whole thing, even all the shitness that it brought, I still loved it.
Yeah.
I still have my vision. Am I willing to die for it? Yes. Do I still want it? Yes. I ain't giving up, right? That's the vision still there. The second question goes, what you're doing, look, there's other ways to get your vision. You don't have to do this. Do you still love what you do? And for me, it's yes. So I think it's got to be those two things. Is your vision, do you still want it? And then two, the thing that you're doing, even though you got to do shit things and maybe there's shitness in your life.
Is the juice worth a squeeze?
Is the juice worth a squeeze? 100%. That is fucking it, man. So
it obviously is for you, and you didn't quit. And through the hardships, you learnt more about yourself. And obviously now again, to my point about it's happening for you, not to you. I can only imagine. But you tell me, do you think it's made you a better coach?
Oh fuck yeah.
100 times.
Fuck yeah, dude. I look at I look at coaches who have had quick success and I go, you're fucked. Because there's coaches who have had easy and quick success. The shit times are coming for you, dude, and you're going to break and crumble. Most likely, because they've built a business off nothing. So, for example, with myself, I've grinded all the way fucking through to where I'm at right now. So I've only known shitness and I'm still fucking here. So I don't need the rewards to be able to keep going. As in, if you've had quick success, you've got into it because of the rewards. So when the shitness comes for you, you're going to go, the rewards aren't worth it. Does that kind of make sense?
It does. I get the point you're trying to make. I think from a spiritual perspective that when that happens, it's like, again, it just comes back to lessons. Different people need different lessons in life. And I think if someone's had initial success, that was meant to happen so they could potentially have the fall that then humbles them, that they could then go through the dark night. Do you know what I'm saying? The same reason why you had the grind, like it all serves a greater purpose if we start to look back and intertwine things. Wow. Big journey.
Big journeys, mate. It's only getting fucking started. So that's the fucking funny thing about it. And you know what? I remember, you know how you got to do your your origin story?
Yes.
I remember when I first started my coaching business, I'm like, I don't have a fucking origin story. Really? Like, I had my sister thing and all that.
Yeah.
But I'm like, how's it really help coaches? You know what I mean? And it's funny because now I look back and I'm like, man, I got a fucking sick origin story.
Yes.
Now. I got a fucking grouse origin story. So what's cool about it is that the biggest thing that's my vision is helping people spread their greatness, right? So that's all. I'm just like, I just want to help fucking people just realize who they want to be and do what they want to do in life, right? And the biggest thing that stops people from ever doing that is just giving up.
Yeah.
So I've had to go through this shit to test you, Luke. Hey, Luke, are you willing to not give up?
Yeah, I'm with you now.
So I kind of made a realization the last couple of months with that, because I've had this helping people spread their greatness vision thing for fucking when I first started, and haven't changed.
Yeah.
So it's been weird because I'm kind of like, there's been a million reasons why I had to go through all that shit, but that's one of the big reasons. I'm like, now when someone's on their feet, and it's funny, man, because I remember clients used to come to me and they'll be like thinking about quitting, and I used to freak out. I used to get real, I don't know what to say or do here, and I used to get real worried.
Yeah. Now you've been prepared.
Now I don't give a fuck. I don't flinch now. When someone's just like, oh, they're on the verge of, and I had someone a couple of weeks ago, like he was saying that he's been doing it for 3 years, and he's just like, man, I'm just not getting much out of this yet. And I've tried everything. I've done all the courses. And I didn't even fucking flinch, dude. I'm like, mate, fucking keep going, mate. You're falling down. I go, do you want this? And he's like, yeah, I really want it. I'm like, cool, man. I go, get the fuck back up. Get back to work. Okay, and it's like literally that's my attitude now, where it's like, I just know if you want this thing, just keep going. Yeah. You'll get it.
Because it's wisdom from experience rather than wisdom from, just reading books where you hear, don't give up. It takes time. Yeah, like it's a very different place it's an embodiment. I can completely relate to that.
Yeah, that is it. That was what it was. Previously, I had read all the books and done the seminars, and it was don't give up, that type of shit. And I used to, at Winning, I used to use little Steve Jobs thing. Steve Jobs said this little line, which he tracked all the successful people, and he looked at all the traits. He tried to figure out what was the ingredients to success. Looked at all these really successful people. Because the only thing I'd find one trait, and I'm like, that's the trait, but then there'll be another successful person that didn't have that trait.
Yes.
The only thing he could find was the people who are successful don't give up. Don't quit. That's all it was. Yeah. And I used to use that line on a sales call. I was like, Winning. I didn't fucking understand it. But now it sounds fucking sick. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. All right. So if we were to wrap this up, what do you feel like if you were to, I don't know if this is just something that I do because it's fun, or if I've seen someone else do this and it hit for me, but I just find myself doing it on each podcast now. Yeah. If you were to have your kind of talk to the camera moment, to and do it too. To anyone who's watching this podcast, they're an hour 50 deep or whatever it is, and like, wow, that really spoke to me. Maybe they're at a point where they've got outside pressures in their life that are just cracking into them. Maybe they're thinking about quitting. Just imagine they're suffering. Say your kind of final piece, speaking to that person however you feel like you want to for a moment, and then we'll wrap it up.
Awesome. Look, if you're someone who has got dreams right now and you're in the pursuit of that and things are getting tough for you, I would say that you got to seriously figure out if things worth it or not, because the truth is, like my story behind Jack DeLosa, my previous mentor, he said that some people are just meant to be great number twos. The truth is, for you, that could be you, but also it might not be for you. You maybe are meant to fucking do that thing that you're meant to do. And number one, you got to figure out if that is what you want. Figure out your vision, hold it really close to you, get really excited about it, get obsessed with it, and do whatever you need to do to get close to it. Because I know if you haven't got that clarity with the vision, some people are like, how do I get it? Just go out there and study leaders, people that you look up to. Like, just study them, yeah? You'll soon find out what makes them tick and you'll learn from them. Once you've got a vision that you're willing to die for, you just fucking keep going. That's all it is.
You live for it.
You live for it and you play a long-term game, and it's pretty simple. Like, if you just gave yourself 10 years, and if you're someone who's young, I get it. 10 years seems like an absolute eternity. But if you just give yourself 10 years of solid commitment, you'll achieve fucking anything in 10 years, man. Starting from the very start, 10 years, you'll get amazing things. And if you think about it, 10 years is a long time in the moment, but if you're talking about if you're 20 right now, you'll be 30. If you're 30, you'll be 40. If you're 40, you'll be 50. Most people, if you look after yourself from a health point of view, are going to be living over 100 by the time you get there, yeah? So you got 50, 60, 70 years of living a fucking sick life if you just go hard for the next 10 years. And just do whatever you can to fucking enjoy the ride, because it literally is. It's a fucking ride. It's a ride.
Dude, I think I love that, and I think if you're listening to what Luke just said and you're maybe now going through your mind or later writing it down, and you think about in that 10 years' time, the vision you've got, if you don't see yourself there going, that was worth it, as confronting as it can be, because I've had those thoughts. Am I supposed to just work, be a good number two?
Yeah.
Be open to that if that's the case, because people think, like you said, you grow the business, it's all going to be freedom. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's actually a long slog. So if you don't love what you do, then it's going to be very difficult to do that every day just in the pursuit of an end result. That when I've reached the mountaintop.
Yep.
Whereas if you're doing something, even though it's hard, but if you love it, it's like going to the gym. People who love to go to the gym, it's fucking hard. But if you love it, well, you keep doing it. If you don't, then... So, dude, epic podcast today. Thanks for opening up and going being so vulnerable. That was a bit of a theme for today. Being courageous to share your story, and hopefully the listeners have got some value through seeing maybe some of themselves in your journey. Don't give up. Keep pushing. Live your dream. Live your vision. And what was your thing that you said you wanted to do? Like help everyone do spread their greatness.
Spread their greatness. That's it.
Beautiful.
Yeah, man. So the greatness is that, you've got to let your heart out and just follow your heart in life. I've got into surfing 5 years ago. I fucking love surfing. And it's just a massive passion. I got into acting, dude. I don't know if you've been following. I got into acting 2 years ago because I love it. And it's almost like previously it would have been like, Luke, you can't do that. You're meant to be doing this. But now I'm just like, I follow my fucking heart, man, in life. And it's just the same, is that follow your fucking heart and let it take you wherever you're meant to go.
Take some risks.
Take fucking risks. Yeah, you have to.
Yeah. Dude, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. We'll do a very formal handshake. Guys, I'm going to drop links to Luke's stuff online. He does some really cool content about being courageous and running coaching business and all these types of things. So definitely follow him. I'll add his podcast links, all of the jazz underneath wherever you're watching this or listening to this. But Luke, just want to say thank you for sharing. This is the Make Men Great Again podcast.
Mate, pumped to be on it. Fucking awesome.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you another episode, and bye for now.
What an awesome episode. And if you want to watch more, just click the button here, or here. Watch the next one, and we'll see you soon.